Hello everybody, welcome to the broadcast. We've got a red flag in the minis which was just finished, so while we wait for that to be cleared, let's just remind you of the top 10, and if we have time, the full classification from FP1. Josh Cook topped the timings with a 1:15.577, a 0.469 gap to Ashley Sutton in second. Tom Ingram was third with a 1:16.114. Jake Hill fourth in the number 24 with a 1:16.178. Rory Butzer in fifth, 1:16.212. Dan Camish in sixth, 1:16.220. Aaron Taylor-Smith in seventh. Keep an eye on him this weekend. Colin Turkington, one of the most consistent drivers last year, I believe, in the May visit. If I just get it up, he qualified in the May visit fourth. He finished race 1 fourth, finished race 2 fourth, and then race 3 was second. So very consistent from Colin Turkington. Keep an eye on him. Was also consistent in the August visit, 10th for race 1, 10th for race 2. But it looks like the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship is starting in 7 minutes, so we've got a little bit more time to fill. We can throw down to our commentators shortly. But Daniel Lloyd was 9th with a 1:16.576, and then rounding out the top 10, Stephen Jelly with a 1:16.632. That was the top 10 from FP1. 35 minutes, our second practice session ahead of us, followed by qualifying, which will also be live on the YouTube channel later on today. But we should shortly be joining our commentary team. But let's have a look at the weather real quickly. It's humidity 67%, air temperature 17.2 degrees Celsius, track temperature 35.6 degrees Celsius, wind direction is east at 6.9 miles per hour, so quite gusty. 67 miles per hour. It is staying around north to east, so around northeast, in between there as well. But I believe we are soon to be joining our commentary team of the BTCC trackside commentary team, so we will be joining them shortly. But qualifying 3 races, which are all live tomorrow. Race 1 will be me and Josh Birch, and race 2 will be myself and Jess, and race 3 will also be Josh Birch and me, Josh T, as well. But we are going to join our commentary team as I believe they've got an interview.
Something else. So yeah, the boys worked really hard with X-Track and fixed the part which broke, and now they're just trying to put one last little piece in, which has decided to thread itself. So the problem is it's a aluminium part into a steel part, so it kind of when it's threaded, it's not as easy as just fixing it. So they're trying their absolute hardest at the moment, but if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck.
It's a disappointment because we love the big, broad smile that we get from Tom Chilton getting out the car here at Thruxton, of absolutely on the limit.
Never happier than when I go on Thruxton. That's where I learned to drive when I was 13 years old. And I've been going sideways.
Well, I blame the parents for that, to be honest.
Blame the parents. Yeah, I just love going sideways around here. I'm happy. But you know, last year was fantastic for me around here in qualifying. Had a really good, strong performance. And I was really hoping to do more of the same here. But I've done one slow lap on cold used tyres before the gearbox broke in FP1. At the moment, I'll be lucky if I get an FP2. So it'll be a bit of a, yeehaw in qualifying.
Oh, what a bind. Yeah, but
There's
we
a
like
positive.
we like you when you do a yeehaw.
There's a positive. I've got more tyres than everyone.
Always look for the positives, Tom, and you always do. Thank you, Tom, for explaining. I'm sorry that we potentially might not see you getting out during FP2. It's not absolutely definitive that the car won't be out during this session, but at the moment they're still working, and that's going to take a little while to fix if we're talking about aluminium on steel shredding.
Yeah, no, that's
13 years old, learned to drive at
Once you
Thruxton.
learn to drive here, blimey. Everything else must have seemed easy after that.
Can you imagine how quickly he did his driving test?
Oh, yeah.
Gone, done.
Quickly in more than one sense of the word, yeah,
Yes.
probably. That was the problem. Yeah, try and stick to the speed limit, Tom, please, just for the driving
I
test.
finished.
Yeah, so, I mean, going into qualifying, you know how competitive touring cars is. If you are 2-3 tenths off the pace, you are mid-pack at best. You know, there's 9/10 of a second sometimes covers almost the whole field. So going into qualifying blind is going to be really tricky. That'll be like, you know, Rory McIlroy going into the first round of the Open, having not done any practice rounds before that, just going straight onto the first tee. So it's going to be really difficult. And you think, well, he knows the circuit. He's been here long enough. Why would it be a problem? Well, because the circuit evolves. It's a living, breathing thing. Every day is different. The temperatures, the track temperatures, the amount of rubber that's on the circuit, what sort of rubber has been put down by support championships. You need to get a feel for it and tweak the car to get that last percentage out of it in terms of time. And that's what the free practice sessions are for. So it's going to be tricky, but hopefully, and you know, these teams are brilliant at turning cars around and turning impossible situations around. They'll get him out there. Just an update on the accident that we had here a few minutes ago at the end of the Mini Melia session. Peter Hills was just checked over by the medical team, and he was up. He got out of the car with a bit of assistance, and he was talking to them. He's all conscious, but it just like he hurt himself, and they've taken him for a precautionary check at least to the medical centre. So he was put on the stretcher, sat upright, but put on the stretcher, taken back into the paddock, holding his neck. So it looked like he was a bit stiff after that. The car's been put onto the flatbed and taken back into the paddock as well, and the circuit furniture has all been tidied up. So as ever, a terrific quick turnaround from the recovery team, helped by brilliant volunteer marshals around the circuit, and of course the medical team as well, to make sure that the driver was okay and everything is back up and running. So wish Peter the best, and we hope to see him in action, if not today, then tomorrow. But got to make sure he's okay first and foremost. That's the priority. So 35 minutes of free practice 2 coming up. If you've got a race programme, page 49 is where you need to turn to pick up the entry list. And a reminder of what happened in free practice 1 this morning. It was the 10-time Thruxton British Touring Car Race winner, Josh Cook, that set the fastest time. He's the only driver into the 1-minute 15s with a 1:15.577, pretty late on in the session. And he was nearly half a second clear of the next best driver. So Josh Cook in fine form in the One Motorsport with Starline Racing Honda Civic Type R, number 66, quickest by 0.469 seconds from the championship leader, Ash Sutton, the 3-time champion in the Napa Racing UK Ford Focus, did a 1:16.046. And then Tom Ingram, pretty late on in the session as well, went 3rd quickest in the Bristol Street Motors with Accelerate Hyundai at 1:16.114 after picking up his first win of the season 2 weeks ago at Snetterton, and he's currently 2nd in the championship. 4th place in the session, and always up there, isn't he, in all the sessions this year, as he was last year really, Jake Hill, and his 2nd season in the BMW 330, the Laser Tools Racing MB Motorsport driver, 4th quickest in car 24 with a 1:16.178 this morning. Rory Butcher was the best of the Toyotas in the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK Corolla. Rory with the new engines for the team this year, all running Toyota engines rather than the customer Toka engines. So 5th place in the Corolla for number 6, Rory Butcher. 6th place was Dan Camish, twice a winner here in touring cars at Thruxton in the Napa Racing UK Ford Focus number 27. 7th place was Aaron Taylor-Smith, who's quite often been popping up there in and around the top 6 or 7 in the free practice sessions this year. So the Carstor Powermaxed Vauxhall Astra, 7th quickest, number 40. 8th was Colin Turkington, 4-time champion in the number 4 BMW. 9th was number 123, Dan Lloyd in the Cupra Leon. the Auto Bright Direct with Miller's Oils run car, one of the black and red Cupras. And then 10th was number 12, Stephen Jelly, in the team BMW 330. So they were the top 10. The best time was 1 minute 15.577 in that first free practice session. So for this next 35 minutes or less now, they will be doing two things. One is trying to work out what a longer run might do on the setup of the cars and the hard tyres that they all have to use. And two, key, they'll be going for dummy qualifying type runs, because it's no use having a car that's really good over 9 or 10 laps on the tyres if you are only 20th on the grid. You've got to get that qualifying in this afternoon to get the weekend up and running, otherwise you're on the back foot. So you can expect them to be putting in some quick single laps in all the way through the session, but certainly as the session goes on, they'll be looking to achieve that. So here at Thruxton, 1:15 the best that time so far. Just a 1:15.9, but a 1:15.2 is the qualifying lap record set by Dan Camish in 2020. So expect some quicker times, maybe in this free practice session, but definitely I think when these hybrid powered cars now we get to qualifying this afternoon. So the cars, as they did in free practice, well, many of them will just go out, do most of a lap, and then come straight back into the pits and check a few things out before coming back out and having a go at sending the cars up as best they can. So again, they'll be using the hybrid here to try and work out where the best spots on the track are, where it's most beneficial to use the hybrid. And then just a word, as I mentioned, when we get to qualifying, less use of hybrid, less use of that extra 40 brake horsepower that you get for the top 7 in the championship. So I was used to be in touring cars that the top 10 had in the championship for the first qualifying, or the qualifying of the first race of the weekend, were hindered by success ballast, and last year that went away and was replaced by less use of hybrid. But the rules have been significantly tweaked this year, so it's the top 7 in qualifying. So everybody that's 8th or lower in the championship, when they get to qualifying this afternoon, they'll get to use hybrid for up to 15 seconds per lap. Anywhere around the lap they like, they can use it in more than one burst, but the maximum amount they have is 15 seconds. However, the top 7 in the championship have less use of it in 2-second increments. So if you're 7th in the championship, Adam Morgan, instead of 15 seconds, you only get it for 13 seconds per lap. If you're 6th in the championship, which is Dan Rowbottom, you only get it for 11 seconds per lap. If you're 5th in the championship, or 4th in the championship, which is Jake Hill 5th, Dan Camish in 4th, because they've got the same points, they both have 7 seconds where they can use it. Normally it's 7 seconds for 4th and 9 seconds for 5th, because they've got the same points. They both have 7 seconds use of it. So that's half what you get to use it for if you are out of the top 7 in the championship. But if you're 3rd in the championship, Colin Turkington, you only get 5 seconds use per lap. If you're 2nd in the championship, Tom Ingram, only 3 seconds per lap rather than 15 seconds. And the championship leader, Ash Sutton, only gets to use hybrid for 1 measly second per lap rather than the 15. So it is a quite big disadvantage, whereas the system from last year didn't have such a big disadvantage for those in qualifying. So that's one thing. The other thing is the minimum speed that you have to get to be able to deploy that hybrid is higher if you're in the top 7 in the championship. So for everybody 8th or lower in the championship, you've got to get to 115 kilometres an hour, which is about 70 odd miles an hour, and then you can deploy it. Anything below that, it won't work. So 115 kilometres an hour for everybody out of the top 7 in the championship. But if you're 6th or 7th in the championship, you have to go another 10 kilometres an hour faster before you can deploy hybrid. You have to get to 125. If you are 4th or 5th in the championship, you've got to get to 130k before you can deploy it. And the top 3 in the championship, Sutton, Ingram and Turkington, not only do they have much less use of hybrid in qualifying this afternoon, they'll have to wait till they get to 135 kilometres an hour before they can even deploy it. And that's another 20 kilometres an hour over the majority of the field. And of course, one thing that does, that alters and limits the amount of places where you can use the hybrid. So a lot of the drivers you'll see using hybrid coming out of the club chicane and deploying that in practice. The blue light will flash in the rear windscreen, but if you've got to get to 135 kilometres an hour before you can do that, you might not be able to do it if you're Ash Sutton or Tom Ingram or Colin Turkington at that part of the circuit. So that might change how you use it, change where you use the hybrid. And then when we get to the race tomorrow, the way it affects, or the first race tomorrow, the way it affects the top 7 is there's less laps where they can use the hybrid. So for everybody outside of the top 7 in the championship, 8 laps of hybrid you can use in the race tomorrow. So half of the racing laps where you get to use hybrid. So you've got to, even those lower in the championship, you've got to be really thinking about when and how you use your hybrid availability, because you've only got it for half of the racing laps. And then only 7 laps for 7th in the championship, 6 for 6th in the championship, 4 each for Camish and Hill, who are effectively equal 4th in the championship, and then 3, 2 and 1 lap is all you get to use it for if you are 3rd, 2nd or 1st in the championship. So Ash Sutton will only have 1 lap in the first race tomorrow where he can use that hybrid as the championship leader. And it's a system which definitely has been working so far in mixing things up. Well, Dan Camish has put in a 1 minute 16.769 to set the quickest time of this session so far. It's not a mega quick time, but it's the only one in the 1 minute 16s. However, also on a quick lap is Dan Rowbottom. He's just on the absolute best first sector of this lap and best second sector as well. So Dan Rowbottom in the Napa Racing UK Ford, his 3rd season as a British touring car racer, number 32, is coming through into the club chicane and on a good lap as well. So he's just coming into the braking point now, turns right, rides the curb, turns left. It all looks neat, all looks tidy, but it also looks pretty quick and aggressive. So this is going to be a decent lap here from Dan Rowbottom as he comes through, goes across the line, and where will it put him to the top of the times? 1 minute 16.084 seconds. So that is quickest lap of the session, but it also rates with the sort of lap times we were seeing in free practice 1 this morning. That lap time this morning would have put him in 3rd place behind Cook and Sutton. So it's a good first lap, qualifying tight run for Dan Rowbottom. Dan Camish down to 2nd. Jake Hill's just posted the 3rd quickest time. No 4th because Stephen Jelly in the BMW goes 3rd with a 1:16.927. And still got about half the field that have either not yet set a lap time at all or not yet set a really sort of competitive lap time, and most of them aren't absolutely flying yet either, just looking at perhaps the longer run pace before they focus in on what's going to be really important when they get to the end of the session. That's setting up for that qualifying run this afternoon. So last year here at Thruxton we had 2 visits of the BTCC to this circuit, and pole position the first visit of the season went to Josh Cook. With all the wins that he's had here, all the podiums that he's had here, that was actually Josh's first podium at Thruxton, first pole position at Thruxton last year. So he got pole in what was then called the BTC Racing Honda, and then qualified on the front row of the grid when we came back to Thruxton later in the year as well. So no doubt about it, Josh is going to be up there. But the other driver that got pole position here last year was Dan Camish. Dan in the Napa Racing UK pole position in the 2nd visit to Thruxton, and he was 3rd on the grid in qualifying first time we came to Thruxton as well. So they were 2 drivers that you would expect to be right up there battling for pole position today, given what they did last year.
I just wondered if you might let me have a little test of our
right.
podium PA
yes.
system. Because it is free practice, we are essentially testing, and it's all working perfectly well. So thank you very much.
That's crystal clear. Also, thanks for the batteries. They worked a treat.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, very good. But
Happy days.
got a red flag out, and
Oh,
because
dear.
there is a car off at Brooklands on the grass and in an awkward position, I would say. It's one of the One Motorsport Hondas. It's right at the end of the binoculars, so can't quite figure out which one it is. Or it looks like it might. I don't know if it's a heat haze as well. I'm just trying to figure out if there's a bit of a crumple in the left side door as well. Maybe not. It might just be the heat haze from here that we've got. But the marshal's going to that car now.
That's a nice problem to have, Chris.
It is a nice problem to have. Yeah, absolutely right. But our fair share of bad weather at the start of this year, haven't we?
We
So-
rather did, yeah. 2 wet weekends at the start of the year this year, and we rather thought that was the way that the year was going to work out. But fortunately, Snetterton and
Oh, it's
now this weekend
beautiful,
at
wasn't it,
Thruxton,
Snetterton? Really nice
absolutely
weekend.
gorgeous.
Yeah, and not too hot either. Just right.
It was, and also here at Thruxton, we always have it's a very open expanse and also an airfield, which traditionally is pretty windy. As a local living in Andover, I can tell you it's been windy all week, not just here at Thruxton, but in the area it's been pretty blowy all week.
Okay.
And we do have a wind, so that's going to affect cars over the course of the weekend, particularly on the back of the circuit.
Yeah, you hear drivers talking about the crosswind pushing them off racing line.
Sometimes if you get a gust, it's a significant feature here at Thruxton, so keep an eye on that. But it's keeping you nice and cool. See so many people enjoying the weather over on the grass banks around the Thruxton circuit, and of course just a couple of years ago we got the spectator viewing area extended, didn't we, around towards Noble, which is the left-hander after
the trek, isn't it?
After the complex. It really is, and I noticed this morning on a couple of laps of the circuit that there is catering over there as well. It was stone-fired pizza I saw this morning, which I don't think he was doing a roaring trade for breakfast, but
Pizza for breakfast. It's a bit of a student thing, that, isn't it?
well, yeah, potentially
Saturday
he was
morning.
doing an egg and bacon pizza. I suppose that's
Well, don't
potential.
ever let an Italian hear you say that.
Well-
Egg and bacon pizza. I'll go ballistic.
I've never tried one, but it's an idea, isn't it?
I mean, lasagna and chips is bad enough for them, but for here you put that sort of thing on a pizza, I think you'd be out on your ear.
Yeah, I know.
So you did a couple of laps in the Porsche, did you?
Yes,
Yeah.
not me driving,
No,
obviously.
no, Alan Gow driving,
but
but-
it's the little Cayman S, and wow, it's not a turbo Porsche. It's a normally aspirated 4-litre engine car.
Just one of your book standards Porsches.
so therefore the noise of that thing is completely glorious. Yeah, we had a couple of laps this morning looking at the circuit before.
So you were acclimatising if you were able to spot, what pizzas they were selling.
It's
Because
all-
it normally goes so quick that everything's a blur, isn't it?
So it's all part of my reference at the start of the weekend. It's essential that I do those laps, so I know where to indicate people can walk and spectate and have pizza
Yeah.
at
Of course it is.
8:30 in the
It's
morning.
no fun at all being in a Porsche, is it? No, not at all.
Not at all.
No. But somebody's got to do it, Al. Somebody's got to do it. Will Power was the car, incidentally, that was
Oh, okay.
off. So that's been put on the tow truck now. It's one of the Starline Hondas, but that was the one that didn't come back to the pits. And as it comes closer now, see the number 70 on the side of the car. So Will Power, former Brick car, which is now the British Endurance Championship champion, is there and very much involved in the team as well. And here for his first full season. He did one of the rounds at Thruxton last year. He didn't do every race last year, which was his first season. He missed the weekend at the start of the year at Donington. Came in late to the championship, but he also missed the second Thruxton weekend, so he had one of the two visits here. And the good news is it was the heat haze, not a crumpled door, that was shimmering over in the distance. The left side of the car looks fine, and the car being towed back in now. Clock continues to tick down as it's a free practice session. Well, this sort of flummoxes everybody that had a nice plan of, right, this is what we're going to do in free practice. We're going to go out, we're going to do this many laps, then we're going to change this, then we're going to go out and do that. And you've lost 10 minutes of the session now, and that all means they're going to have to shortcut and come up with a plan B now, because they've got much less time to get through the programme of events that they wanted to get through the team. So you can guarantee the moment they get the signal you can go back out, all those cars, or most of those cars, are going to be pushed back into the pit lane apron and released out. They'll be keen to get going, because you've only got 16 drivers that have set a lap time, but actually you've really got 4 or 5 drivers that have set a proper lap time so far in that session. Dan Rowbottom, Josh Cook, Dan Camish, and Stephen Jelly, the only drivers in the 116s. Rowbottom with a 116.084, Cook with a 116.282, Camish with a 116.769, and Jelly with a 116.927. The rest of them in the 117s: Hill 5th, Morgan 6th, Watson in 7th, Butel in 8th, Pearson in 9th, and Moffat in 10th place. So here with this season getting really close already, as we approach the 1/3 distance in this 30 race championship, with a great field of drivers. You've now got 15 of the drivers on the grid as the cars are released back onto the circuit that have been race winners in the British Touring Car Championship. So more than half of them know how to win races in this championship. Colin Turkington, top of the list, of course, 64 wins, now second in the all-time list behind only Jason Plato. Ash Sutton has had 31 wins. Tom Ingram has had 26. They're the three most winning drivers in the field, and they are also the three champions that we have in the field as well. Colin, the winner of the BTCC in 2009, 2014, and then 2 years running in 2018 and 2019, looking for a record-breaking 5th championship title this year. Ash Sutton, who became the youngest ever driver to win 3 championship titles when he got his 3rd title in 2021, and Tom Ingram, who got his 1st title last year in 2022. So between them, the 15 drivers on the grid that have won touring car races have won a whopping 210 races. It is quite the field. Got these vastly experienced drivers like Colin Turkington with more than 500 races to his name. Tom Chilton, who went past the 450 race mark last time out, but these younger drivers coming in as well. The rookies like Andrew Watson with his excellent pedigree in GT racing coming into touring cars, and Mikey Doble, already an independence race winner at Donington Park as well, coming in from Ginetta's first full season. For Nick Halstead as well, coming in, joining the Hyundai team after being a race winner in British GT last year with Jamie Stanley at Spa, and going well in the overall championship. And so Will Powell was first full campaign this year as well. But lots of experience mixed in there. Ronan Pearson, the other rookie coming in this year, 4th place last year in the mini challenge, and already impressing with what he's achieved and all the points that he's managed to pick up so far as well. So he'll be up there as the year progresses, no doubt. But this is always a real test when you come to this place for the first time, and quite a few of them that haven't raced here before, including, of course, Mikey Doble, Ronan Pearson, and quite a few of them that haven't been on the podium here previously and go well out everywhere else. But Thruxton's a little bit different to the other circuits. Josh Cook showing the way. That record that he got of 10 wins, more than anybody else winning here at Thruxton. Something just clicks with him. Also got a really good record at Brands Hatch as well. So cars on their out laps. Nobody absolutely flying yet, except for Ash Sutton, who's not yet put a lap time in. He's done the absolute best 1st sector, personal best 2nd sector. He's the next one over the line. This is going to be a pretty competitive lap from Ash as he comes through and goes 3rd quickest, 1 minute 16.299. So that puts him behind Rowbottom and Cook. Colin Turkington going over the line into 4th place as well with the 1:16.542. Then Camish heads for the pits. You got Ronan Pearson about to start another lap. Nick Halstead coming through as well. And then the next, the Toyotas coming through, the red, white and black livery of the Speedworks run cars. Ricky Collard, it is, though, on his home circuit, who heads for the pits. And then a fairly bare track over in the final sector. Not many drivers out there at the moment. We've got Colin Turkington with a personal best 1st sector, 26.064. But that is half a second down on the absolute best 1st sector time that we've had. Oh, not quite half a second, nearly 3/10 down. But he's lost a bit of time there. But it is a better lap so far that he's managed. 21.066 through the middle sector, which is, again, not a personal best. And again, he loses a bit of time to the 20.3 that we've had through there. A lot of time, actually. So, yeah, it's not going to be a mega lap, this, from Colin, although it started fairly brightly. The personal best sort of faded away from him. Taylor Smith goes to the pits. Osborne stays out. Rowbottom goes into the pits as he comes out of chicane. Turkington will stay out and have another lap. Stephen Jelly, one of his teammates, just behind him, missing the chicane. Is Dan Lloyd, who avoids the tyre stacks, but that ruins one lap and the start of the next.
Bobby Thompson brought quite a lot of Thruxton grass back with him. This time it's Dan Rowbottom. He's just brought his Napa Racing Ford Focus into pit lane with a huge amount of grass in the front scoop, so that needs to be taken out. The team are doing that at the moment, and I didn't see any other problem on Dan's car other than grass.
Good today. So yeah, Danny picked up his 1st podium of the year. Has found the limits, gone a little bit beyond them, and they'll just get the grass out now to make sure it doesn't get in amongst the radiator and start to overheat the car, which is easily done. Dan coming here 6th in the championship.
It's not fair to poor old Pat and his circuit staff here at Thruxton. Look, you missed a bit. Look, I've got it right here.
Yeah, trim it for you. I know. Yeah, exactly right. It's always the way, though, isn't it?
I'll finish the job for you.
It's easy done, though, isn't it? Out the back there. I mean, we got
very easy.
Slightly offline, and you're off because of the speed of the cars through those.
Any moment on the grass here is a bit of a moment.
Yeah. You stop breathing, I would imagine, for a few seconds when that happens. Your eyes widen, your grip tightens, and there might be a few choice words coming out of your mouth as well if that happens at Church Corner or one of the other fast sections at the back of the circuit.
Got that big runoff now on the outside of Church Corner, haven't we? And I understand it's still as thrilling to watch as ever. So I think this was the session that David Addison and plenty of other media types were going out to spectate from Church Corner.
Oh wow, that must be an experience. I've never had the chance to do that. That must be amazing.
David asked Alan Gow this morning if there was any chance of a lift before this session started, and Mr. Gow's response was, "I'm afraid I'll need a minibus," because quite a few people had asked the same question.
Well, I could charge them though, make a bit of.
It's a good point.
Yeah, tenner a go. Pay for a few bacon and egg pizzas, that would. Well, Tom Ingram was on the ragged edge as he came out through the club chicane about 30 seconds ago, the number 1 Hyundai, and it proved to be a pretty good lap. He's gone second quickest, 1:16.205. It definitely looked like a qualifying type run from Tingers. So Rowbottom quickest, he's in the pits. Ingram second, he's still on track. Cook is third, he's in the pits. Sutton is fourth, Moffat fifth, Turkington sixth, Butcher seventh, Camish in eighth. They're all on track. Jelly and Hill are 9th and 10th, they're both in the pits. Watson is 11th, Thompson is 12th, Morgan in the pits is 13th, Doble in 14th, Butel in 15th, Gamble is 16th, Patterson is 17th in the pits, Pearson in the pits is 18th, Osborne's 19th, Edwards is 20th, they're both in the pits as well. Will Powell had that excursion, but he's gone back out now, so that's good news. There was no real damage to the car, so Powell back out in the Honda, car number 70, and then we got Hamilton in 22nd. Chilton is out there in 23rd, so that's good news. They've got the thread sorted, and Tom getting his, well, he's only had, 4 laps, weren't even complete laps, were they, in the first session this morning? You might have got 1 or 2 completed laps. So he's out there now, number 3, trying to play catch-up. He'll have a very busy 11 minutes, I think, trying to get as much data as he can. Dan Lloyd is 24th, Nick Halstead 25th. Ricky Collard and Aaron Taylor-Smith have not yet set lap times. They've been on the track, they never completed a full lap as yet, although I think both are about to do so. So Collard and Taylor-Smith, the only 2 that haven't registered a lap time as yet in Vauxhall and in Toyota and Vauxhall respectively. Here comes Aaron Taylor-Smith using the hybrid coming out of the final turn. Into Allard he goes, and he goes across the line, and his first lap puts him into 13th place in the Vauxhall with a 1:17.141. So just Ricky Collard to come through, and he goes straight up to second place. So Collard, 1:16.202. First lap, first time of asking. Ricky into second place, just a 10th or so behind Dan Rowbottom. So Ford quickest, Toyota second, Hyundai third, Honda fourth, Ford in fifth, and going really well in sixth place, the Honda of Aidan Moffat as well. So he's done a 1:16.381. You got the top 11 have all done 1:16s, and Tingram goes through and goes quickest, and he's the first driver in this session into the 1:15s. 1:15.927 for the champion. Personal best sector 1, an absolute best in sector 2, and the longest sector, which is sector 3, which takes in the run through Church and Brooklands and up through the club chicane. That was a personal best as well. So 1:15.927, which is very close to the lap time that we saw from Josh Cook this morning, but not quite as quick. A 1:15.577 that was. So Rowbottom's gone back out now. Ingram is quickest, Rowbottom is second, Collard has just been bumped down to third. 4th, 5th and 6th are all in the pits, Cook, Sutton and Moffat, and we've got 9 minutes to go. In and out for Collard, 1 quick lap, he's come straight back into the pits.
Colin Turkington having a bit of a setup change made on the rear of the car. Colin not having featured significantly during this session so far, but having a bit of a setup change on his BMW. Tyres just being popped back on Ash Sutton's car. Andrew Watson same thing. So I think they're pretty much done with Colin's car. Maybe a little bit more work on the left rear, and then I'm assuming that's setup work that they're doing rather than anything else at the rear of the car. But he's been here for a little while. Ash Sutton's about to go back out, and I've just had a look over to the grass bank. It's so lovely to see on the Saturday of a touring car meeting so many people making the most of the weather and the racing here at Thruxton. It's great to have such a nice crowd here on Saturday. Brilliant.
It feels like the busiest Saturday we've had so far this year, I reckon, in terms of
it
crowd.
does, yeah.
Well done, everybody.
And
Good to have you.
well, good decision. Really good decision.
You can go shopping next Saturday. Come to the touring cars this Saturday.
Yeah, wait until the rain sets in.
There'll be another sale
Because
at the sofa
inevitably
company
it will
next week. Don't need to go this week. Come race it.
So Colin's changes to the car have been completed. He is on his way. Down the pit lane he goes. Jade Edwards is going to follow him out of pit lane. Who's coming in? It's Mikey Doble's Vauxhall Astra, as his teammate Andrew Watson is leaving pit lane. So too is, whose car is that? Dexter Patterson's car. That goes out of pit lane. So with 7.5 minutes just under of the session remaining, we might be about to get a glimpse into the kind of form that we can expect during qualifying later on this afternoon. The good news was that Tom Chilton did get out on circuit. He has completed a few laps. He's here in pit lane at the moment, but that was good work by the team, because that was not the work of a moment to rectify, and Tom's about to get back out on circuit now.
Dan Cam's gone up to 4th place while I was talking through there the cars. It was one of the cars pushing on track, so 1:16.213 for Dan Cam. So Ingram quickest, he's just coming to the pits. Rowbottom is out there and on a push lap at the moment, although he's not done a personal best in the first sector. He's looking fairly rapid. Not sure he's going to go quicker than Ingram though, but it's looking pretty good for Dan. He's second. Third is Collard. He's back in the pits after doing just that one flying lap so far. And then Camish having gone 4th, Cook in 5th, Sutton in 6th with 6 minutes to go. So,
Did we mention, Chris, I'm sorry to interrupt, did we mention what frequency Radio Thruxton is on this weekend?
No, because I don't know what it is.
93.7 this weekend, and that's
93.7.
93.7, and that's the frequency that we will stay on at Thruxton for at least the next few years. So 93.7 is where we broadcast. Yeah, they've changed all the way up and down the country, and I've yet to put together the spreadsheet of what we are, where we are.
That's what we need, a spreadsheet.
So yeah, I'm assembling as we go. 93.7 this weekend.
93.7 FM. So if you've got an FM radio, or you've got a phone that can pick up FM, and you want to listen to the commentary, 93.7 FM, where you get the live commentary on that as well here at the circuit, or if you're nearby the circuit, you should be able to pick it up as well. Ash Sutton's just gone 3rd quickest, 1:16.160. Stephen Jelly's just improved it up to 8th, and Dan Lloyd has just shot up from 26th to 10th in the Cooper at 1:16.565 seconds, although relatively quiet circuit at the moment, because there's lots of drivers that have just gone back on out laps for maybe one more push. So Tom Ingram quickest. This was actually one of the few circuits didn't get wins at last year on his way to the championship title. Had 2 visits, and he had a couple of 6th place finishes, but they were his best results at Thruxton last year. So they wonder if they've maybe been able to tweak the Hyundai to make the Hyundai a little bit quicker through this circuit last year, but maybe so, because he's gone quickest so far. Colin Turkington only qualified 4th and 15th here in the 2 sessions last year, so maybe a bit of work to do to try and get the BMW up to sorts as well, although he did get on the podium here at Thruxton last year with 2 second place finishes. Pretty well actually in terms of points scored. Colin got 2 seconds, 2 4ths and 2 10th place finishes here on the 6 races that we had at Thruxton in 2022. But as I said earlier, it's one of only 2 circuits where Colin has never been on pole position, Silverstone being the other one in the BTCC. So see if he can break that duck this afternoon. It'll be a good time to do it. He has 27 career pole positions from the 518 race meetings that he's been at. And an improvement for Adam Morgan, his teammate, has just gone into 15th place with a 1:16.957. He's a 5-time winner here as well. So you've got 15 of them now into the 1 minute 16s. Well, 14 of them, because the top one, Tom Ingram, is in the 1:15s with a 1:15.927. Absolutely flying though is Josh Cook. Absolute best first sector, absolute best second sector, and Josh Cook is coming out of the club chicane now and might be about to go to the top of the times with a definite qualifying type run here. Cook over the line. Where will this put in? The timing screen updates and he goes to the top of the times, 1 minute 15.411. So that's the best lap of the session by some distance. He's more than half a second clear of Tom Ingram with that. So Josh Cook, king of Thruxton, king of free practice so far. He was quickest this morning, he's quickest now, and that's the best lap of the day. That's even a 10th quicker than he went this morning. So Josh Cook firing a warning shot to everybody else. Yes, I'm ninth in the championship. Yes, I haven't been on the podium yet in this season. And yes, I haven't won a race this season, but this is my manor. This is where I know I can be successful and get my championship really up and running. So Josh Cook, therefore, will be, if he wasn't already, one of, if not the favourite, when you look at qualifying later on this afternoon. He's quickest. Bobby Thompson, who's having a great season so far and battling for the Independence Championship title. Last year's Jack Sears winner's gone third quickest, 1 minute 15.996. So Bobby Thompson got his best ever result in the British Touring Car Championship with a second place finish at Brands Hatch last month. He's there in third place, 1 minute 15.996. Be well pleased with that. So Cook in the Honda is quickest. Ingram in the Hyundai is second. Thompson in the Cupra is third. Rowbottom is the best of the Fords in fourth place. His teammate Ash Sutton is fifth. They're both in the pit lane. Collard in the Toyota in sixth. And then Camish in the Ford in 7th, Moffat in the Honda in 8th, Jelly in the BMW in 9th, and Turkington in his BMW in 10th place. The BMWs are not right up there, are they? Now, I know it's only free practice, but to put that right, Jake Hill's just flashed through and he's gone 5th quickest.
Has he, by Jove? They will want to be quicker, though. I do wish my watch would stop telling me it's loud down here. I know it's loud.
This is, Apple iWatch,
and it is, yeah. And particularly it's loud because Tom Ingram has been down here in pit lane for a little while, but he has just left pit lane. He's just about got enough time to get one quick lap. So he's on circuit now. I reckon he's around about at Noble, I would say. But he'll be doing one quick lap at the end of this.
Okay, we'll keep an eye out. Thanks for that, Al. Yeah, that'll be it though. He'll probably be the last one to start a lap because there's less than a minute left on the clock now. So everybody crossing the line now and in the next few seconds. So going back to start their final lap. Dan Camish coming through. He slipped back to 8th place at the moment. Aaron Taylor Smith has just got himself into the top 10. Camish did 1:16.8 on that lap. His best is a 1:16.2. The best is a 1 minute 15.4 by some distance, Josh Cook. And Josh now comes into the pit lane, as does Jade Edwards, as does George Campbell. Jake Hill staying out though, and look, another good lap this. 2 personal bests so far, and looking to get higher than 5th place if he can with this lap. He goes through 1 minute 16.4. Lost a bit of time at the end of the lap there, so he lost 4/10 through the last bit of the lap, but he'll get one more in. There's 10 seconds left on the clock. Keep an eye out for Tom Ingram then, who reckons to have one more push lap. See if he can fly around. 1 second left on the clock. Flag comes out. Stephen Jelly, who's not exactly flying out of the chicane, is going to be the first one to take the checkered flag. And Hill through the first sector, not that quick, so I don't think he's going to improve after all on this lap. A few of them on out laps. Checkered flag now out. Tom Chilton did manage to get out and do some laps at least, but he's back in 20th position. His last lap was his best lap, a 1 minute 16.991. 26.1 seconds through the first sector for Tom Ingram, so it's not going to be an absolute barnstormer, I don't think, because he's about nearly 4 tenths down in the first sector. 22.0 through the middle sector for Tom Ingram, and Josh Cook, who's quickest in all 3 sectors, which is pretty rare, did a 20.2 through the first sector. So it's not going to be a flying lap this from Tom Ingram. Having gone out and just crept across the line before the flag came out. I'll come through, complete the lap though, and the champion comes through. The flag awaits. Over the line goes Tom Ingram, As I said, I don't think it's going to be a flying lap now. 1 minute 18.1, but he will end up second in the session and ahead of all of his closest championship rivals going into qualifying this afternoon. But can anybody beat Josh Cook? And can he get another pole position to add to the one he got last year? Practice starts as well now at the end of free practice 2. So if you're on at the banking near the start-finish line, near the exit to the club chicane or the entrance to Allard, a good photo opportunity now as the drivers will practice their starts, practice lining up on the grid spots, and their one chance to get the cars off the line and simulate a race start before we get to race 1 tomorrow morning. So Josh Cook quickest, the best lap of the day so far, 1 minute 15.411 seconds. Second, Tom Ingram, 1:15.927. Also in the 1:15s, really impressive third practice from Bobby Thompson, 1:15.996, with Rowbottom 4th, Hill 5th, Sutton in 6th, Collard in 7th, Camish 8th, Moffat 9th, and Taylor Smith 10th.
Take a little screenshot because I'm going to dive in and make the most. I don't want him to run off somewhere else. Have you got anything to add from free practice 1?
Not really. Yeah, just still trying to make fine improvements, and we know come qualifying it's going to be really close. So just needs to keep chipping away. Still a little bit to find. Was hanging on to it a bit at the back, so it wasn't quite optimal. So we just need to keep improving those little bits and get some of the grass at the front.
Well, if you haven't got grass in the front, then you're not trying hard enough, clearly.
No, I actually thought that Pat and the circuit staff had done such a good job of the groundworks out at the back. I wanted to take a closer look, so I took a detour.
Right, was it a fairly high-speed moment? Well, anything over there is high speed. But was it a moment, or was it all under control?
I mean, I could just say that it was just a minor moment and everything was under control. But
You held your breath, didn't you?
and closed my eyes and ended up back on the circuit, so it was all right. No,
Hooray!
it was just a little slide at the back, and
Josh, can I ask a serious question? Because I know we tend to joke around quite a lot between the two of us, and that has been the basis of our relationship for some considerable amount of time. What is your secret? Do you know what your secret is around this circuit?
no idea.
And probably best not to inquire too much then.
Yeah, I've got no idea what it is about the place, all we're doing is just trying to get the best out of me and the best out of the car, and we're chipping away in the package.
Which is what you do at every circuit you go to.
It is, but I don't know what it is. Obviously, I love this circuit. It's my favourite one. But we've had a lot of success at other circuits. We've had double wins at plenty of other races.
Brands Hatch, Donington.
Yeah, Croft. There's been plenty of them, but it just seems to be that so far we've been, in recent years we've been fairly, consistently quick at this circuit, and some of that helps just the continuity we've got, with the team and my engineer and everybody on the car. So it's all those small things help, but we're not arriving at the circuits not knowing what we've got. So it allows us to spend all of our time just trying to make it even better.
Will you smile on the podium if you get there?
Absolutely not.
Thank you, Josh. Very good.
The very definition of keeping a lid on it and not getting carried away, that.
Josh Cook.
Okay, that ends our coverage. So I'll do the full classification real quick. Josh Cook is top with a 1:15.411. Ingram second. Thompson third. Fourth was Daniel Rowbottom. Hill fifth. Sutton sixth. Collard seventh. Camish eighth. Moffat 9th. 10th, rounding out the top 10, Taylor Smith with a 1:16.438. Jelly in 11th. Watson in 12th. Turkington in 13th. Lloyd 14th. Patterson 15th. Butcher 16th. Doble 17th. Gamble 18th. Morgan 19th. Chilton 20th. Pearson 21st. 22nd was Jade Edwards, 23rd Osborne, Butel in 24th, and Powell, Hamilton, Halstead round it out. Okay, let me tell you of the schedule for the rest of the day on JB Motorsports. So from 1:10, so in around 24 minutes, you can catch Josh and Simple for the F2 sprint race. At the same, at the same time towards the end of the sprint race, 2 p.m. to 10 past 3, is IndyCar Radio taking you through Detroit FP2. And also at 2:45 is the build-up to qualifying, which starts at 3 p.m. for F1 at Spain. Then you can catch us back here. I am joined with Omi from 3:15 to 4:05 for the qualifying for tomorrow at Thruxton. And then 6:15 to 7:45 is Detroit IndyCar qualifying. So we will see you in around 23 minutes for F2, and we'll see you at 3:15 for BTCC Thruxton qualifying. See you then.